The bass from the rooftop party pulses through my bones as I watch him from across the crowd. There's something magnetic about the way he moves, confident but not cocky, like he knows exactly who he is and what he wants. I've been watching him for 20 minutes, telling myself I'm not watching him at all. I'm Ashlyn, and this isn't how I plan to spend my Friday night. Jenna practically dragged me here, insisting that 6 months of self-imposed exile was enough. You can't hide forever, she'd said, shoving a dress at me that I'm now tugging at uncomfortably. Stop fidgeting, Jenna whispers, appearing beside me with 2 glasses of wine. And stop staring at him like he's your next meal. I'm not staring, I lie, accepting the wine. I'm just observing the crowd. Right, and I'm the Queen of England. She nudges me with her elbow. Go talk to him. No, the word comes out sharper than intended. I'm not ready for what? A conversation? He's not asking for your hand in marriage, Ash. The mystery man turns then, catching my eye. A slight smile plays at the corners of his mouth, and my stomach does an embarrassing flip. I down half my wine in one gulp. Oh God, he's coming over, I mutter, gripping Jenna's arm. Ladies, he says, his voice carrying easily over the music. I couldn't help but notice you've been enjoying the view. Heat crawls up my neck. The city lights are beautiful from up here. He laughs, and it's rich and genuine. I'm Brandon. Ashlyn, I manage, trying to ignore how my pulse quickens when he takes my hand. And I'm leaving, Jenna announces with a smirk, disappearing into the crowd before I can stop her. Brandon leans against the railing beside me, close enough that I can smell his cologne. So, Ashlyn, what brings you to Jenna's famous rooftop gatherings? Emotional blackmail and a borrowed dress, I say before I can stop myself. His eyebrows rise. Sounds like there's a story there. Not one worth telling at a party. I take another sip of wine, willing myself to relax. What about you? How do you know Jenna? I don't, actually. My friend Peter couldn't make it, gave me his invitation. He studies me with interest. I'm glad he did. The conversation flows easier than it should with a stranger. Brandon works in finance, loves live music, and has a way of making me laugh that catches me off guard. When he asks about my boutique, he listens with genuine interest, asking questions that show he's actually paying attention. Your parents must be proud, he says when I mention the store's recent expansion. Something in his tone makes me pause. They are, especially my father. Family support is crucial in business, Brandon muses, his eyes suddenly distant. My mother taught me that. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. It's a text from my father. Need to talk, important. Come by tomorrow? Everything okay? Brandon asks, noticing my frown. Yeah, just my dad. He probably wants to discuss the store's finances again. I try to shake off the sudden unease. Dad never texts this late. I'd love to hear more about your business plans, Brandon says, pulling me back to the moment. Maybe over dinner next week? I hesitate, thinking of all the reasons I should say no. 6 months isn't long enough to get over a betrayal that left me questioning everything I thought I knew about love and trust. But there's something about Brandon that makes me want to take the risk. Dinner would be nice, I hear myself say. His smile widens, and he pulls out his phone to exchange numbers. As we talk about potential restaurants, I can't shake the feeling that this night marks a turning point. I just can't tell if it's leading somewhere wonderful or dangerous. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Dad. Don't tell your mother yet. The music keeps playing, the city lights keep twinkling, but something in my gut tells me everything is about to change. Dad's house still smells like coffee and old books when I arrive the next morning. The familiar scent usually comforts me, but today it mingles with something else. Antiseptic, medical. Wrong. Sweetheart, he says, rising slowly from his leather armchair. Too slowly. How was the party? It was fine. I kiss his cheek, noticing how sharp his cheekbone feels beneath my lips. What's going on? Your text had me worried. He waves me toward the couch, but remains standing. I met someone interesting at the hospital yesterday, a financial advisor who specializes in estate planning. Hospital? My stomach drops. What were you doing at the hospital? Just some tests. He won't meet my eyes. Nothing to worry about yet, but it got me thinking about the boutique, about your future. The doorbell rings before I can press him further. Mom appears in the doorway, arms full of grocery bags. Ashlyn, I didn't know you were coming over. Neither did I, she adds, giving Dad a pointed look. Perfect timing, Dad says, but his smile seems forced. We were just discussing the boutique. Mom's expression shifts subtly. Peter, we agreed to wait. I'm tired of waiting, he cuts her off. She needs to know. My phone buzzes, a text from Brandon. Dinner tonight? Found the perfect place. Know what? I ask, ignoring the message. Will someone please tell me what's going on? The silence stretches until Mom breaks it. The boutique's location, the landlord's selling the building. What? I stand up, my legs shaky. But we have a lease. With an early termination clause if the building sells, Dad explains. But I have a solution. I've been talking to the bank about leveraging some assets. Absolutely not, Mom interrupts. We discussed this. It's my decision, Linda. It's our retirement fund, Peter. My phone buzzes again. Brandon, my mother's in town. She'd love to join us. She has experience with retail property investments. The timing feels too convenient. I think of Brandon at the party, asking about my business, about my family. I need some air, I announce, heading for the back porch. Through the window, I can hear my parents still arguing. You can't keep this from her forever, Dad says. And you can't fix everything by throwing money at it, Mom replies. I dial Jenna. Remember that guy from your party? Brandon? The one you've been texting nonstop for the past 12 hours? Did you know he was coming? Really coming, not just replacing someone else? What? No, he said he was filling in for a friend. She pauses. Why? Something feels off. He mentioned his mother's financial expertise, and now suddenly she's in town wanting to discuss retail property investments? That could be a coincidence. Maybe. I watch through the window as Dad sinks heavily into his chair. But I don't believe in coincidences anymore, not after Marcus. Brandon isn't Marcus, Jenna says softly. No, he's smoother. I take a deep breath. I'm going to dinner with them tonight. Ash, I need to know what they want. When I return inside, Dad's color has improved. He's showing Mom something on his laptop, and they've shifted from arguing to whispered consultation. Everything okay? I ask. Just fine, sweetheart. Dad closes the laptop. How about lunch? I'm starving. Actually, I have dinner plans. I force a smile. With Brandon and his mother? Something flickers across Dad's face. The financial advisor I mentioned? Her name wouldn't happen to be Monica, would it? My blood runs cold. You know her? We met yesterday. Quite a forceful woman. He exchanges a look with Mom. Be careful, Ashlyn. Why? Some people see opportunity in others' difficulties, Mom says carefully. My phone buzzes one more time. Brandon. Mother's excited to meet you. She has some interesting proposals to discuss. I look at my father, really look at him. The weight loss I'd been ignoring, the tiredness around his eyes, the way Mom hovers near his chair. Whatever's happening with my parents, whatever Brandon and his mother want, I need to figure it out fast. I'll be careful, I promise, already planning how to turn this dinner into my own fact-finding mission. Very careful. The antique Tiffany lamp in my parents' study catches Brandon's eye for the third time in 10 minutes. His gaze lingers too long, calculating, like he's mentally appraising every item in the room. I pretend not to notice, but my skin prickles with awareness. Such lovely pieces, Monica says, running her finger along the mahogany desk. Family heirlooms? Some. I keep my voice neutral, watching her perfectly manicured nail trace the wood grain. Dad's a collector. Speaking of your father, Brandon interjects, how did his doctor's appointment go? I freeze. I never mentioned Dad's medical issues to Brandon. Oh, did I overhear that at dinner the other night? He adds quickly, too quickly. Your mother mentioned something? Mom appears in the doorway before I can respond. The tea's ready. Peter will join us shortly. Monica sweeps across the room, her designer outfit somehow making Mom's tasteful living room feel shabby. Linda, darling, I was just admiring your collection. The insurance premiums must be astronomical. We manage. Mom's smile doesn't reach her eyes. I hear Dad's heavy footsteps on the stairs, slower than usual. Brandon moves to help him, but I step in first. I've got it, Dad. I'm not an invalid, he mutters, but leans on my arm anyway. We settle around the coffee table, and Monica launches into her pitch. Brandon tells me you're having property issues with the boutique. Such a shame. But perhaps it's an opportunity in disguise. How so? I ask, noting how Brandon's hand finds my knee under the table. Well, with the right investors. Monica pauses as Dad starts coughing. It's a rough, wet sound that makes my chest tight. Peter, are you all right? Fine, he wheezes. Continue. As I was saying, with the right investors, we could not only secure a new location, but expand. Brandon's firm specializes in these situations. I feel Brandon's fingers tighten slightly on my knee. A warning? A reassurance? May I use your bathroom? He asks suddenly. Mom points him upstairs, and I watch him take the wrong turn, toward Dad's study instead of the bathroom. Something cold settles in my stomach. Excuse me, I murmur, following quietly. I find him rifling through Dad's desk drawer, photographing documents with his phone. My heart pounds, but I force myself to stay hidden, watching. Did you find it? Monica's whispered voice behind me makes me jump. She's on her phone, speaking softly. The medical record should be in his study somewhere. We need to know exactly how long. I step backward, bumping into a side table. The noise alerts Brandon, who quickly slides the drawer shut. Ashlyn, he forces a smile. I got turned around looking for the bathroom. It's the other direction, I say flatly. Past the family photos, the ones you walked right by, the ones showing Dad at his last medical charity event. Understanding flickers in his eyes. He knows I heard everything. Sweetheart, he starts. Don't. My voice shakes. Just don't. Downstairs, I hear Mom asking Monica about her investment experience. Dad coughs again, and the sound tears at my heart. I can explain, Brandon says, stepping toward me. Can you explain why you're going through my father's private papers? Or why your mother needs his medical records? The words taste like acid. Or how about explaining how you really knew about his doctor's appointment? He reaches for me, but I back away. It's not what you think. Really? Because I think you and your mother are vultures circling what you assume is easy prey. The rage building inside me is almost choking. I think you saw a sick man and his vulnerable daughter and thought we'd be perfect targets. We're trying to help. Get out. The words come out barely above a whisper. Both of you. Get out of my father's house. Don't be hasty. Monica appears behind me, her voice honey-sweet. We're only looking out for your interests. After all, when my father what? I turn to face her, and something in my expression makes her step back. Dies? Is that what you were going to say? Is that what you're waiting for? The silence downstairs tells me Mom and Dad have heard everything. Ashlyn? Dad calls up, his voice weaker than I've ever heard it. Everything all right? I look between Brandon and Monica, seeing them clearly for the first time. No, Dad, but it will be. The mask slips from Monica's face, revealing something cold and calculating beneath. You're making a mistake. No, I say, my voice steadier now. The mistake was thinking I wouldn't figure out what you're really after. I hear Mom's footsteps on the stairs, coming to investigate. Brandon touches my arm one last time. This isn't over. You're right, I agree, pulling away from him. It's just beginning. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly before me as I follow the doctor's white coat. Dad's test results, she said. Urgent meeting, she said. My hands won't stop shaking. Stage 4, she says, and everything after becomes white noise. I find myself in Dad's room later, watching him sleep. The machines beep steadily, marking time we apparently don't have much of anymore. My phone keeps vibrating. Brandon's 7th call today. I silence it without looking. You should answer that. Dad's voice startles me. Might be important. Nothing's more important than this. I take his hand, trying not to notice how thin his fingers have become. About that. He shifts, wincing. There's something we need to discuss. The inheritance. Dad, please. Not now. Yes, now. His grip tightens. Because Brandon called me this morning. My blood runs cold. What? He had some interesting things to say about the boutique's finances. About your mother's spending habits. About you. He pauses, studying my face. He seemed very concerned about our family's welfare. I bet he did. I try to keep my voice steady. Did his mother call too? Actually, yes. Dad's eyes narrow slightly. How did you know? Before I can answer, Mom appears in the doorway. Peter, the lawyer's here. Lawyer? I look between them. What lawyer? To discuss the estate, a new voice says. Monica steps into view behind Mom, and my stomach drops. I took the liberty of recommending someone. You did what? I stand up so fast my chair scrapes against the floor. Ashlyn, Dad warns, but starts coughing instead. Monica glides forward, all concern and helpfulness. Peter, let me get you some water. Linda, perhaps you could show Mr. Wallace in. He's waiting in the hallway. Mom hesitates, looking at me. I give her the slightest shake of my head. Actually, Mom says, her voice firmer than I've heard in weeks, I think we should reschedule. Peter needs rest. But the documents, Monica starts. Can wait, I finish. The door opens again and Brandon walks in like he belongs there. Everything okay? I thought I heard arguing. You thought right, I say. What are you doing here? Supporting you, of course. He moves to touch my arm, but I step back. Ashlyn, you're upset. I understand, but we're trying to help. Help yourselves, you mean. The words slip out before I can stop them. Dad's monitoring machine beeps faster. What's going on? Nothing, Monica says smoothly. Just family looking out for family. We're not family, I snap. Not yet, Brandon says meaningfully, reaching into his pocket. My heart stops as he pulls out a small velvet box, but I was hoping to change that. The room goes silent except for the steady beeping of machines. I look at the ring box, then at Brandon's practiced, sincere expression, then at Monica's triumphant smile. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious, Brandon says, dropping to one knee. I want to take care of you, of all of you. Dad starts to say something, but another coughing fit takes over. Mom rushes to his side while Monica uses the distraction to whisper in my ear. Think carefully, dear. Your father's medical bills aren't going to pay themselves. And that boutique of yours. She lets the threat hang. I look at Dad, fighting for breath, at Mom, trying to help him, at Brandon, still kneeling with that damn ring box, at Monica, thinking she's won. Then I notice something. Mom's hand sliding Dad's medical file off the bedside table and into her purse while everyone watches the proposal drama unfold. Her eyes meet mine, and I see something there I've never noticed before. Calculation. Brandon, I say quietly, get up. But get up and get out, both of you. I turn to Monica. And if you ever try to use my father's illness against me again, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of help you're offering. You're making a mistake, Monica hisses. No, Mom says, stepping forward. You did. Now leave before I call security. After they're gone, Dad's breathing eases. He looks at me with a mixture of pride and sadness. I'm sorry, he whispers. I should have seen through them sooner. It's okay, I say, but Mom interrupts. No, it's not okay. She pulls out the medical file. But it will be, because now we know what we're dealing with, on all fronts. I look at my mother with new eyes, wondering what else I've missed about her all these years. So, she says, opening the file, shall we discuss our next move? The email arrives at 3 a.m., sent from Brandon's work account to Monica's. My hands shake as I scroll through the forwarded chain, courtesy of an anonymous source inside his firm. Each word confirms what I've suspected but couldn't prove. Target acquired. Father's condition worse than expected. Accelerate timeline. I'm just another acquisition to them. A stepping stone to my father's estate. Dawn finds me in my boutique's back office, surrounded by financial records. Mom's voice echoes in my head. Follow the money. She'd shown me how Brandon's firm had been buying up distressed properties all over town, using shell companies to hide their involvement. The bell above the door chimes. We're closed, I call out, not looking up. Even for me? Brandon's voice sends ice through my veins. I close my laptop slowly, buying time to compose myself. Especially for you. You're not returning my calls. He approaches my desk, all concern and wounded pride. After everything we've been through, 3 weeks, I cut him off. That's all it took for you to go from stranger to fiancé. Quite efficient. His expression flickers. When you know, you know. Like you knew about Sarah Martinez? He freezes. Who? The owner of that vintage clothing store on 5th. The one that mysteriously went bankrupt last year. I pull out a document. Right after she rejected your mother's investment offer. That's not... Or Michael Chen's art gallery? Or the Wilson family restaurant? Each name makes him pale further. All approached by your firm, all refused, all destroyed within months. You've been investigating me? Anger edges into his voice. Learned from the best. I stand, matching his tone. Tell me, was the proposal your idea or Monica's? The office door opens again. Monica sweeps in, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. Both, actually, though I admit the timing was my suggestion. Mother. No point in pretending anymore, darling. She sets her designer purse on my desk. Ashlyn's clearly done her homework, though not thoroughly enough. She pulls out a folder, spreading photos across my desk. My breath catches. They're of Dad, meeting with various people I don't recognize. Your father's not as innocent as you think, Monica says softly. Those debts he's worried about, they're to some very unsavory people. People who won't care about his illness when collection time comes. You're lying. Am I? She slides another photo forward. Dad, handing an envelope to a man whose face I've seen in crime reports. We can make this go away. Protect your family's reputation. All we need is your cooperation. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. Don't sign anything. Almost there. Think about it, Brandon adds, reaching for my hand. We could still make this work. I let him take it, feeling nothing but contempt for the touch that once made my heart race. You're right. Hope lights his face. Monica smirks. We could make this work, I continue, pulling my hand away, if you weren't so predictable. Excuse me? Those photos? I nod toward the desk. Dad told me about them last week. About how he's been working with the FBI to expose financial fraud in the real estate market. Something about predatory investors targeting vulnerable businesses. The color drains from Monica's face. He was supposed to keep that confidential, she snaps. He did, until you tried to blackmail his daughter. The boutique's bell chimes again. Mom walks in, followed by 2 suited individuals showing badges. Brandon Lewis? Monica Lewis? One steps forward. We'd like to ask you some questions about your investment practices. Monica recovers first, reaching for her purse. Our lawyers are already being questioned downtown, the other agent interrupts, along with several members of your firm's board. I watch them being led away, Brandon looking shell-shocked, Monica's mask finally cracking. The satisfaction isn't as sweet as I imagined. It tastes more like ashes. You okay? Mom asks, touching my shoulder. No. I look at the scattered photos, the evidence of their schemes, the wreckage of what I thought was love. But I will be. Good. She starts gathering the documents. Because this isn't over. They'll have contingency plans. I know. I pick up Monica's abandoned folder. That's why we'll have our own. The sunrise streams through my boutique's windows, painting everything in harsh, clear light. No more shadows to hide in, no more pretending. Just the cold certainty of what needs to be done. Time to show them, I say, what real revenge looks like. The hospital waiting room feels colder than usual tonight. Dad's latest scan results sit unopened in my lap. While across the hall, Brandon and Monica meet with the hospital board. Their voices carry through the thin walls, something about charitable donations and specialized treatment programs. My phone lights up with messages from the FBI agent. Evidence compromised, key witnesses recanting, investigation stalled. Of course. Money talks, and the Lewis family has plenty of it. They're offering to cover all of Peter's medical expenses, Jenna says softly beside me, plus experimental treatments in Switzerland. In exchange for what? But I already know. Full control of the estate planning, and dropping all allegations against them. The envelope feels heavier now. Inside are either Dad's death sentence or his chance at survival, depending on which path I choose. Mom bursts through the door, her usually composed face twisted with anger. They're threatening to foreclose on the house. All of our accounts are frozen. They can't. They can. Brandon's firm holds most of Dad's business loans. She sinks into a chair. We were so focused on gathering evidence against them, we didn't see them gathering ammunition against us. The boardroom door opens. Monica emerges first, victory already gleaming in her eyes. Brandon follows, not quite meeting my gaze. Have you considered our offer? Monica's voice drips with false concern. The Swiss clinic has an excellent success rate. I stand, envelope clutched tight. You're enjoying this, aren't you? On the contrary, I take no pleasure in family suffering. She glances at the envelope. Shall we discuss terms? There's nothing to discuss. But my voice wavers. Brandon steps forward. Ash, please. This doesn't have to be war. Let us help. Like you helped Sarah Martinez? Or Michael Chen? They made their choices. Monica's mask slips slightly. Just like you're making yours? Though I wonder if your father would approve of you choosing pride over his life. The words hit like physical blows. Behind me, Dad's monitor beeps steadily through the wall. The Swiss clinic requires an answer by midnight, Brandon adds. After that, the spot goes to another patient. My phone buzzes again. More bad news from the FBI. Another witness gone silent. Another piece of evidence mysteriously misplaced. I'll give you a moment to think it over. Monica's heels click against the linoleum as she walks away. Though, I should mention, that boutique of yours? The new building owners are reviewing all lease agreements tomorrow morning. After they leave, Mom takes my hand. We'll find another way. What other way? My voice cracks. They've thought of everything. They're winning. Only if you let them. Dad's doctor appears in the doorway, face grim. The latest results? You should see them now. I open the envelope with trembling fingers. The medical terms blur together, but one phrase stands out clearly. Accelerated progression. Without immediate intervention, the doctor pauses. Weeks, maybe days. The walls seem to close in. Everything we've fought for, everything we've tried to protect, crumbling under the weight of Monica's influence and Brandon's betrayal. Time's running out, Brandon says, suddenly back beside me. Just sign the papers. Let us take care of everything. I look at the contract in his hand, then at Dad's test results, then at Mom's tear-streaked face. The choice feels impossible. Surrender to save Dad, or fight and risk losing everything. Midnight, Monica calls from down the hall. Tick-tock. My phone lights up one last time. A message from an unknown number. Delete this after reading. Have proof of Lewis family fraud. Meeting tomorrow, 2 a.m., parking garage level B3. Come alone. I stare at the message until the screen goes dark, feeling the weight of both salvation and trap in those words. The clock on the wall reads 11:45 p.m. 15 minutes to decide. Deal with the devils I know, or risk everything on an anonymous message that could be another Lewis family trap. Dad's monitor beeps again, each sound marking another second of his fading life. Time's running out, and I'm all out of moves. Level B3 of the parking garage is a concrete tomb at 2 a.m. My footsteps echo as I approach the meeting spot. Mom's stolen financial records clutch to my chest like armor. A figure emerges from behind a pillar, not my anonymous source, Brandon. I knew you'd come. He steps into the dim light. Mother's waiting upstairs. Of course she is. I turn to leave, but more figures appear. Monica's private security team. Quite the welcome party. We're trying to help you, Ashlyn. Brandon moves closer. The Swiss clinic was never real. The words taste bitter. I called them. No openings, no special program, just another lie. Monica's heels click against concrete as she emerges from the shadows. Clever girl, but not clever enough. She holds up a familiar-looking USB drive, the one containing all our evidence against them, the one I kept in my safe. Amazing what people will do for money, she says. Your assistant was quite helpful. My stomach drops, but I force a smile. That's not the only copy. No? Monica raises an eyebrow. The FBI's evidence is gone. Your father's medical records have been adjusted. And that boutique of yours? The new owners just signed the demolition permits. Why? My voice cracks. You've won. What more do you want? Insurance. She steps closer. Sign over your inheritance rights, now. Or tomorrow, every bank in the city calls in your father's loans. Brandon produces a document. It's the only way, Ash. Dad needs... Don't you dare talk about my father. Rage burns away my fear. You never cared about him. About any of us. That's not true, he starts, but Monica cuts him off. Enough dramatics. Sign or watch everything your father built crumble. I reach for the pen, hands shaking. Then my phone buzzes. A text from Mom. Now. Fluorescent lights flood the garage. FBI agents emerge from stairwells and behind vehicles. Among them stand Sarah Martinez, Michael Chen, and every other business owner the Lewis family destroyed. What is this? Monica's mask finally cracks. Insurance, I echo her words. Amazing what people will do for justice. Brandon lunges for the USB drive, but Monica pulls it away. Don't be stupid. Like father? Like son? I watch understanding dawn in her eyes. Yeah, I know about Brandon Sr., about the real reason he disappeared 20 years ago. The FBI found his testimony very interesting. You're bluffing, but her hand trembles. Am I? Check your phone. She does. Her face goes ash white at whatever she sees. That USB? I continue. A copy of your ex-husband's complete confession. About the fraud, the embezzlement, everything. He's been waiting 20 years to tell his story. Mother? Brandon looks lost. What is she talking about? Nothing. Monica's voice rises. She's lying. Like you lied to me? Brandon grabs the drive. About Dad? About everything? The FBI moves in as Monica makes a break for the stairs. She doesn't get far. You ungrateful little... She spits at me as they cuff her. Save it for court. I turn to Brandon, who stands frozen, staring at the drive. Your father's waiting upstairs. He'd like to talk. I didn't know, he whispers. About Dad, about what she did to him. I swear. I believe you. And surprisingly, I do. But that doesn't excuse what you did to me. His shoulders slump as agents lead him away. For what it's worth, I really did fall for you. I know. I watch them go. That's what makes it worse. Mom appears beside me, holding Dad's latest real test results. The actual Swiss clinic called. They have an opening next week. How can we afford? Your father's old business partner came through? The one Monica thought she'd scared away? She smiles. Turns out he's been waiting for a chance at revenge, too. I look around the garage, at the witnesses giving statements, at Brandon's defeated form, at Monica's fury as she's led away. Is it supposed to feel like this? I ask. Empty? Mom squeezes my hand. Revenge usually does, but justice? That feels different. How? Like hope. She hands me Dad's results. Now, let's go tell your father he's going to Switzerland. The garage lights flicker as we leave, casting long shadows behind us. But for the first time in weeks, I'm not afraid of what lurks in them. The Swiss clinic's windows frame the Alps like a postcard, but I'm focused on Dad's latest test results. Significant improvement, the doctor said. The words still don't feel real. Stop reading that thing. Dad snatches the paper from my hands. I'm fine, better than fine. I know, but I check his color anyway, the habit too ingrained to break. My phone buzzes. Another news alert about Monica's trial. The headlines grow more sensational each day as more victims come forward. Brandon Sr.'s testimony proved devastating, but it was the paper trail that sealed their fate. Turns out Monica's need to document everything extended to her crimes. Have you read Brandon's letter? Dad asks quietly. No. The envelope sits unopened in my bag, just like the last three he sent. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's not. I stand, needing to move. The prosecutor said no contact. The prosecutor isn't your conscience. Before I can respond, Mom appears with coffee and that look in her eye, the one that means she's been plotting. Sarah Martinez called, she says, settling beside Dad. She's interested in a partnership, her vintage collection, your boutique space. My space? But the demolition was never filed, she smiles. Amazing what you find when you actually check the records. The building's yours if you want it, part of the restitution agreement. The implications hit me. You knew? All along? I suspected. Why do you think I kept all those financial records? She takes Dad's hand. Monica wasn't the only one who could play the long game. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have let us protect you if we had? The truth of that sits heavy. I've spent so long trying to protect them, I never saw how they were protecting me. A nurse brings Dad's medication, and I watch him take it without complaint, a small miracle itself. On the TV mounted in the corner, Monica's face appears again. The sound is muted, but her expression speaks volumes as she's led from the courthouse. I found this in my study. Dad pulls an envelope from his robe. Before we left for Switzerland, I think you should read it. The paper is old, the ink faded. As I unfold it, I recognize Brandon's father's handwriting. Peter, I couldn't stop her then, but I've kept everything, every document, every transaction, every lie. When the time comes, it's yours. Protect your daughter better than I protected my son. B. He knew? My voice catches. He knew Monica would try again, that she'd use Brandon like she used him. Dad's eyes are gentle. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. It's about breaking cycles. Through the window, snow begins to fall on the mountains. Somewhere in New York, Brandon is rebuilding his life without Monica's influence. Part of me hopes he succeeds. A smaller part hopes he doesn't. Sarah's waiting for an answer, Mom reminds me. Tell her yes. The decision feels right. But I have one condition. Oh? We display the Tiffany lamp in the front window. I smile at their surprised looks. What? Some family heirlooms deserve to be seen. Dad laughs, then coughs, but it's different now. Clearer, stronger. The Swiss doctors are optimistic about full recovery. I pull out Brandon's unopened letter, turn it over in my hands. Then I walk to the window and tear it in half, letting the pieces fall into the wastebasket. Some answers aren't worth the questions they raise. Ready for your walk? I ask Dad. He nods, accepting my arm as we head for the door. Mom follows, already on the phone with Sarah, planning our future. The hall mirror catches our reflection. Dad getting stronger, Mom in her element, me somewhere between who I was and who I'm becoming. The revenge I thought I wanted gave me something else instead. Clarity. You know what the best revenge is? Dad asks as we step into the crisp mountain air. Living well? No. He squeezes my hand. Living truthfully. The snow continues to fall, covering everything in clean, bright white. Somewhere in that pristine expanse lies whatever comes next. For once, I'm content not knowing exactly what that might be.